What do you think is the best way for someone to find a job?
Mm, what's the best way? I would say honestly, in one word, I would say just networking.
Networking? Yeah.
Networking. I can never. Just networking, knowing people it's not sometimes who you know. It's not what you know, is who you know. To be honest, and I say that because I'm a testament of that in itself. Both of my roles that I got was because I knew people.
Hmm.
And just to give you a little bit more content, is I graduated from San Jose State December 2014, which is a couple of years ago now. It just flies so by. So I graduated and I started working. I didn't have a job lined up. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna figure it out. I'm ready to hand off to the real world and all that. So I some recruiter reached out to me for a startup via LinkedIn. So I gave it a try. It was pretty quick to say the least that I got that job. But I ended up doing cold calling, which no offense to anybody who does cold calling,
I used to do cold calling for like 3 years.
it takes a determined person
Yes.
type of like character and like really momentum to do that. Like, but I just knew that I didn't want to be doing that for long.
Right.
So,
And by the way, were you getting a lot of people messaging you on LinkedIn? A lot of recruiters?
not really, to be
Okay.
honest. It
Like,
was
did
just
you have a really awesome profile or something?
no, not to be honest.
Okay.
Not
So
that
you had a basic profile, but it was enough to get a recruiter to contact you.
yeah, it was pretty basic. Now that I think about it, it was just kind of like I didn't really. Now looking back on, I always ask people, and I always try to ask myself, knowing what I know now, what would I told myself a year ago, or before I started this, or my 18-year-old self, type of thing, right? But yeah, that I had it was pretty basic, and so I left that job, and I took a risk. I took a risk, and I have no job lined up. I didn't even think about like let me keep working and while I find another job. It was just like I need to stop and focus on looking for a job
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I
You're like,
think
I gotta find something. I hate cold calling. Yeah, I did it for 3 years. It taught me how to eat shit, but it was so important to my character building. But I would say sales, cold calling is one of the best ways to sharpen your skill set.
oh yeah.
So let me jump ahead and like you were talking about networking and you're kind of telling your own story. So from that cold calling job, it didn't work out, and I assume at your next job you found it through networking.
Yeah, so I went back to LinkedIn and I said, well, what are my friends, colleagues doing up and like what are they doing, right? So I was going on LinkedIn, looked up on my network, and I saw one of my friends. She worked at Cisco, and I saw her title, University Recruiting Specialist. I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, that sounds cool. Like, is it like a recruiter? What does it mean? So I simply reached out to her. I'm like, hey, how you been? Like, how are you? I haven't seen you in such a long time. I saw your LinkedIn, saw your title, and I'm very like just curious to know what is it that you do. Like, would you mind if I take you out for coffee and just
Okay, you kind of had that. You didn't just say, "Hey, hook it up with a job."
oh no, yeah. And that's actually like oh my goodness.
The big.
It's
Oh
so
my god.
sure you get this too. Like you don't know how many probably messages I got right now I have in my LinkedIn right now saying like, "Hey, here's my resume. Let me know when you got a job or hook
Yeah,
me up with a job."
I know.
Or
I always look at. I think the biggest mistake. This is where I think people have a. I think even the term "find a job" is messed up already. Just the structure of it, because it's not really about finding a job. It's about trying to become a solution to somebody else and their organization. You know what I mean? It's about trying to see how I could help them. It's about trying to find people, not a job. So whenever I'm working with someone to find a job, they're like, "Oh, I found 5 jobs." I'm like, "Okay, great. Tell me 5 names of people who you connected with and what you could offer them." I want to know that more
yeah,
than I found these 5 jobs, I finished my resume and I applied online. Like, to me, I call that the front door, but it's
uh-huh.
all about the side door. Because when I went to like a lot of recruiting conferences, they talked about one of the biggest fears as a recruiter is trusting the candidate. And it's just so much easier to trust them when you already know them.
Yeah,
So that side door is so important, like to try to meet. That's the way the world of business works. It's all through connections and knowing people. But I think a lot of the people I work with, and I assume you, as you're talking to job seekers, is sometimes they come with that perspective of, I need a job, I need this. But the world doesn't give things to those that need it. They give it to those that are willing to give and deserve it. So it's like switch your mindset from I need a job to how could I be a solution to this person. And so I like your approach on the LinkedIn part. It's not like I need a job, but it's that's like a soft approach. I like what you did, which is, hey, could I learn more about what you do? I'll take you out to lunch or coffee.
Yeah, no, and you're right. It is about just definitely like making sure that we change that approach of like getting a job to like, okay, what can I do for you, and what can this company, what this opportunity can do for me? How am I going to grow from it? So yeah, I just simply asked her, can I have a coffee with you? And she did. She was kind enough to really just dedicate some time. And I'm like, hey, like, I'm not asking for a job, but if you have like 5 minutes, do you think you could browse at my resume and just give me feedback? Like, don't tell me the good stuff, just tell me like what I
Yeah.
need. And she did. She was so kind,
You're
and I
good. You're good.
and now I'm like, I'm always forever grateful with her. Like
Yeah.
I to this day, I'm like, hey, like I'm just forever grateful because she took that chance on me,
That's
and
awesome. Yeah.
just took the time. And then again, also same with this role. When I was trying to make my jump onto a new opportunity, something else to grow, again, same thing. I was like searching for jobs, whatever, and then the my director at the time when I started at Cisco, then moved like shortly after I started. He was looking for a university recruiter at Cloudera, and he was part of a group form for university recruiters at Bay Area, and he's like looking for a recruiter. I'm like, hey, like, remember me? Like, well, and again, same thing. Like, I'm just curious to know
Yeah.
more
And
about.
and I think and you're genuine with your approach and very authentic. And you're like honest. You're here to learn. You're trying to see what you can do to help. You're coming from that frame of mind, which I think makes the huge difference between the person who's just networking for purely the sake of getting a job. And I think when someone could network without expecting anything back from someone, and when they could do that genuinely, that's when they really sort of master networking.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
A lot of people tell me, okay, I mean, if they were to hear your situation, a lot of people say, "What if I don't know anybody?"
Right.
Yeah,
Um, I would say honestly, one of the biggest tools and resources we have is the internet. Like internet,
LinkedIn.
like link exactly.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
really?
your story alone was on LinkedIn too. So yeah, people who don't have LinkedIn get fucking LinkedIn.
Yeah, and honestly, I need to do a better job and probably like keeping it most updated. That's one of my goals to up my brand a little. But again, everybody's on LinkedIn, right? So it's just it's endless opportunities. Like, if you don't know, I don't know, what does a recruiter, what's the difference between a technical recruiter or any role that you're interested potentially? Like, if you you're going out searching for a job, okay, what roles are you looking for? What interests you? Make that list and look at other people.
Yeah.
You know,
So would you recommend that they message recruiters, or should they message people who are potentially their hiring manager, or say they're an engineer? Should they message fellow engineers?
I would say message who you just want to learn from.
Right. Right.
I again take that approach of like, hey, uh, John, I saw that you are a teaching assistant at City of San
San
Francisco.
Francisco. Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm interested. Like, do you mind? Do you have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or even max 15 minutes so I could do a Google Hangout to know what's your day to day
Yeah.
basis? Not only are you connecting with them, but you're actually getting to know, like, you're maybe getting them in a casual conversation where they're like, hey, the culture's like this, the difference between
And that's inside information you could use on your resume, interview, when you're networking. Yeah.
exactly. And then again, like I always tell people, I'm sure that students maybe go out to networking events or when they have a guest speaker, right, or where there's like a panel, right. Correct me if I'm wrong, but usually all the panelists or the guest speakers, they provide their info, right.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I used to host. I host till this day. I still host a lot of panel informationals, and everybody provides their number, their email, their like Twitter, whatever, right? And they always usually say like best way to contact me is through Twitter or through Gmail or whatever it is. And I always ask them like, hey, did anybody reach out from the events? They're like, nope, only one person. And I actually had a one-on-one with him. But it's crazy because I feel like I always ask them the question, the guest question, and they say that people never reach out.
Do
Like,
people reach out to you? Do you feel like a lot of people reach out to you with a really solid message of, hey, I wanted to learn about your company, or hey, this is what I could offer you? Do you get a lot of like really solid messages, or really are you like flat? Like it's like either no one's responding to me, or everyone that is just telling me to like look at their resume. It almost reminds me of like dating. It's like there's just either no one in the pool, or everyone's like a douchebag.
yeah, I do get a few. Like, I do get a few of like probably 1 out of 5 will genuinely reach out. Like, hey, I'm an HR student at San Jose State. I'm interested.
Okay.
Very interested. And I could tell just because the way they craft their message, like they're just genuinely interested, like want to connect.
Yeah.
And to your point, I have those that just like, here's my resume. Like, let me know when there's a job opening. Like,
Yeah, it's like just like dating. It's like hi, this is who I am, and I would love to like move in together sometime. It's like whoa, it's like I'm not gonna look at your resume. I'm not gonna move in with you if we just met. We got to get to know each other. It's like a courting process kind of.
yeah, definitely. And then again, there'll be times where I mean, I do look at the resume. I'll provide quick feedback, but I mean, if you can't even say like, people usually, hi, here's my resume. Literally, like not even. I think it's like even common courtesy is sometimes lacking.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
like, hi, John, how's your day? Okay, let
That's
me wait for
good.
your reply, and then like, hey, I was interested in this. Like,
Just regular conversation, like regular human connection stuff.
human. Like, it's like now, am I talking to a chat box or is it an actual chat? Right? Like,